Hello, everyone. Jamie here from the NOIC Godcast, where we offer wacky wisdom weekly from God's Word. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can keep your gratitude when there's a bunch of bad attitudes. I know so many of you are getting excited for, Thanksgiving. And honestly, it's one of my favorite holidays. There's turkey, and, you get to catch up with all your friends and family. And I don't know if you're weird like me. Now that I'm older, it's not as much. But, when I was even, a teenager, Christmas kind of gave me, a little bit of anxiety because you had to buy presents for everybody. And it was just how am I supposed to do all this? So, Thanksgiving was, the same thing as Christmas, but no presents.
No pressure.
It was just no pressure.
Right.
So that was always my favorite.
Like a warm-up.
Yeah. I'm I can do this.
This is a dry walkthrough for Christmas.
And I don't know about everyone's Thanksgiving, but our house, it's usually talking and games and honestly just total mayhem the entire time you're there. But Thanksgiving is about giving thanks.
Wow. That's impressive.
I know, profound.
Wow.
Quote me. But we'll sit there with our families, maybe dressed up, maybe not. Not me, but maybe some families.
Wait, dressed up?
Yeah.
Like nicer clothes.
Nicer,
nicer clothes.
Not costumes.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you guys were like a pilgrim.
Yeah, we go all out. Some people wear sweaters, I wear sweatpants. You know what I mean? It's a whole thing.
Gotta wear sweatpants for Thanksgiving.
Right?
They're adjustable.
Fit more.
Yeah.
It does. You can fit more food in your face. So you may be dressed up and, you think about all the things that you're thankful for, your families, your homes, your friends, church, your job. And we might even be in brighter spirits because of it. Things that were, a big deal a couple days ago don't seem that big, You're like, I am just so thankful. And this is just a great time. And I'm having this warm and fuzzy feeling. And then it happens. 12 a.m. comes Friday morning, and somehow everything that you were thankful for a few hours ago earlier is just not enough now, and you're willing to punch an old lady to get a sock for 22 cents.
It's true. True story.
God's blessings didn't change, though. We did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
God is still doing his job, loving us, protecting us, providing the things that we need to fulfill his plan, yet somehow we're unable to see them through the noise of life. Whether it be a crowded Walmart on Black Friday at 3 a.m., or you're just trying to make dinner and everyone in your house has decided that they need you all at once, we are very easily distracted by we're easily distracted by what we see, that it's hard for us to remember the things we know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. However, God didn't change. So if you are noticing that you sometimes are still thankful for everything that you have, and then the next day those things are just not enough, remember that it's your focus and not God's faithfulness.
True.
So in this time, how do we keep our minds on God? How do we keep God's plan first? How can we, even in the face of the Black Friday shoppers, keep an attitude of gratitude? So this is a little hits a little too close to home because of this morning. For people that don't know, none of you would know. Well, maybe some of you. This morning we were on our way to church and I popped our tire and dented it was a whole thing. It was a whole fiasco. We were already running late for church. You know what I mean? And it would have been very, very easy to just be like, he's not good. You know what I mean? God's not good because I am late for church.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I could have easily just been like, this is going to ruin my day. Sundays are crazy. I'm not going to get there because I teach Sunday school. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to get there on time. You what?
You couldn't get the rolls?
I couldn't get the rolls. I left my rolls at home. It was a whole thing. But he was still good.
Yeah.
Regardless of the tire, regardless of the left rolls.
We're still at home.
They're still at home, sitting on my counter right now. He was still good. And so this whole thing kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, yes, typing this last name. Like, this is good for people. And then I'm like, ooh, I got to live this morning. That's not good. So a couple things that I do personally, and I want you guys to kind of chime in if you guys can think of anything that you guys do as well. First, start your day with him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this could be reading. It could be scripture writing. It could be Christian music, a Christian podcast, prayer, or anything that will just bring your focus to him. Truly and honestly, that makes the world of difference. Because your focus isn't, okay, I need to get up and do all my laundry, do all this, do all that. You're first like, what does God want from me?
Right.
And when you ask that first question, your whole day is changed. Like you're like, oh, okay, God wanted this from me. And then it just stays on your mind the whole day. You guys have anything that you wanted to add in that?
Sure. So how do we keep God first is because we often, why is this happening to me? Okay, so this morning you may have been thinking like, God, I'm running late. I forgot my roles. Why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
then there are just a couple of things that you need to remind yourself of, and this is something we talk about in LifeWise daily, okay, is that nothing can happen unless God makes it happen or allows it to happen, okay? So remember that, okay? And then when we say, why does this happen, change that why to who, okay? So instead of saying, God, why did I get a flat tire? When you change the why to who, it's like, well, whose purpose was it for me to get this flat tire this morning? Okay. So could God have stopped you from getting a flat tire this morning? Absolutely. Okay. Did he make it happen? Probably not, but he allowed it to happen.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay. So when you try to remember those basic things, like I said, like nothing happens unless God either makes it happen or allows it to happen. It's all part of God's plan, and I remember months ago we joked about, well, I don't know how this became a joke, but we're just those kind of people that if you're in a car accident and your leg is across the road, okay, we don't see the goodness in that at all, you know what I mean? And then of course we're going to have that, one really, really awesome Christian friend who's going to visit us in the hospital and say, this is all part of God's plan. And we don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like we want to hear something.
We want to sulk with them. Like,
right.
We want them to be like, I can't believe that this is all happening to you. You don't want someone to encourage you.
Exactly. Like so much LifeWise stuff just pops in my head because so if you look at like the story of Joseph, for example, right? Okay, so like long story short is that through no fault of his own, he was sold into slavery, thrown into prison, and then sat in prison for another 2 years because somebody forgot to mention him. Okay, none of those are his fault, but yet he kept his focus on God. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that the majority of us have never faced anything as bad as being sold into slavery as slavery was back then. And even if you've been in prison back then was different than prison is now. You know what I mean? Like there was no lifting weights. There was no, you know what I mean?
Screen time.
Exactly. Right, exactly. So what Joseph went through was just extraordinary, but yet he managed to keep his focus on God. So again, for the third time, if God allows it to happen or made it happen, like that's what helps me. You know what I mean? So even in a bad situation, I always just look back to God is allowing this to happen for a reason. You know what I mean? And that reason in the end.
Well, you got to think too, like, honestly, when you're talking about things, you don't understand the way God thinks. God sees everything from start to finish all at once.
At once, yes.
And so it's not it's not like he's like making it up as he goes. Like he can see it from start to finish.
Right.
And so even the people that have talked about, I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but when 9/11 happened, there was a lot of people that were late to work because like random things, like their dog was being weird or their car wouldn't start or like just different things. And they ended up not being in the building at the time that it hit.
Right.
But they were irritated that morning because they couldn't get to work on time or they couldn't get to this appointment on time.
Right.
But then in hindsight, it was the best thing for them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing is like, now do I think that like I was going to die on my way to, maybe I would have, I don't know. But like with me getting that flat tire, it could have been keeping me from a car wreck. It could have been something worse. You know what I mean? It just, there's so many things that can happen and we don't get to see those things. I can't take that guess. That is God's like, oh, that's my provision for you.
Yes.
My flat tire could have been provision for me. And it's really hard to see that when you're in the moment though.
Yeah,
you know?
It's impossible for us to see it because we're grounded to this earth. And as much as we try not to be. This is, you know what I mean? Think about, we're living in a world of sin and our flesh is sin. So it's kind of like we're fighting two things, the world and our flesh. So it's virtually impossible for us to see it. And like I like to explain, like your flesh is always screaming, right? But your spirit is always a calm, present voice. You know what I mean? So while your flesh was screaming at you this morning, like, Jamie, you gave us a flat tire. Okay? Your spirit is saying, be calm. It's going to be okay.
Well, that's the thing. What did I say? Oh, I said to her, I'm like, for full disclosure, this morning, like, attitudes were a little bit high in my household this morning. And so, have you ever heard of the phrase, or heard of, like, the meme or whatever, that it's, if you're in a bad mood, that God will grab you by your belt loop on your door handle?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I think I wasn't wearing belt loops this morning. And so I think that the flat tire was my belt loop this morning, because we were kind of, not that it was like really big irritations, it was just like an overall not good thing. And so with that, though, it kind of had to snap me out of it and was like, I had to be calm. I had to, you know what I mean? There was, getting up in arms wasn't going to fix it.
Right.
And so it forced me to like slow down and not be irritated by what I was being irritated by. You know what I mean?
There's this, you guys are talking about like Facebook videos and everything. Well, I saw a Facebook video.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like a hallway, and that leads into a room. Okay, so this guy's like walking down like toward the open area. Okay, so like on one side there was a guy representing Satan, and he had like a weapon. Okay, and on the other side of the room, like the entrance to the room, like if you can picture this, was someone portraying God, and God was telling the person coming toward the room to stop. Okay, and the person was becoming very, very agitated. And they would keep trying to come into the room, and God kept telling them to stop. Okay, and this went on like for several minutes. And then eventually the person portraying Satan left, and then God said, okay, come on in. Okay, so obviously the connection is that person could not see what was going to happen once they entered the room. But God saw it. And though God wasn't standing in front of your car this morning saying, wait a minute, don't pull out yet. You know what I mean? He has his way of just, I won't even say manipulating. Like, I was talking to Miguel earlier, and I said, like, there's a difference between someone saying God knows your path and God paved your path. Like, those are two different dynamics there, okay? And if God paved your path, like, who are we to disagree with that? You know what I mean? So
I don't know who said it, so I'm quoting somebody, and I've quoted it before.
Is it a person?
It's a person. I just don't. I'm not good at knowing who says things. I just know people say things. But if we knew what God knew, we would do what God does.
Oh yeah.
That's very true.
I do know. I don't know who that is, but yes,
you know that.
But I know it's somebody. Somebody. You said it, Rachel.
I've heard you say it before. So as far as I know, that's your quote.
So that's number one. Number two, when you start getting irritated, angry, sad, or any feeling that is not gratitude, stop what you're doing and thank God for things. It doesn't have to be specifically about your situation. However, I have noticed that when I start thanking him for other things, the issue I have, like right in front of me, doesn't seem that bad. Or if it is that bad, I will remember that God will bring me through this just as he has the other 1,000 times that he's brought me through things. So I started doing this. I'm a bad mom. I get irritated sometimes when Tolkien won't go to sleep. And I'm rocking him and he's just staring at me. Like, dude, just close your eyes. And so I started, because I used to just get so irritated, worked up about it. I'm like, dude, just go to sleep. And I know, like, babies can feel that. So he's not going to sleep because he's like, Mom, why are you irritated? I thought we were having bonding time. But I started praying and thanking him for the things that I have. Thanking him, thanking for my house, thanking for me being able to be a part of ministry. Like, and once I started doing that, it completely changed the way that I was feeling in that moment. And it didn't fix it. Like, the situation was still there. Tolkien was still just staring at me blankly. but my heart changed because my focus was on the things that God has given me and how good He is compared to the situation in front of me that I thought was just detrimental.
Yeah.
Well, so God's in the business of changing our hearts. Like that's the whole thing. Like God is not necessarily in the business of moving mountains out of your way. He wants to change your heart because you can move the mountain out the way for 1,000 people, and 1,000 people's heart will not change. You know what I mean? But so if He's in the business of changing your heart, you know what I mean? Like you just now said, you became less irritable about this, and this is not just a one-time thing. Like the next time, probably tonight, when he doesn't want to go to sleep, okay, you can already start off ahead of getting agitated. You know what I mean? Because now you have like a reference point, so to speak, on how to react when he does this. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, last time he did this, I started thinking about what I'm thankful for. Well, I'll start that process a lot sooner now. And you don't even get agitated over it because...
And you know what the funny thing is I think that we all get in this like stuck feeling. Like, I don't know if anybody else has ever felt this way. Maybe it's just a me thing. It's I'm already in a bad attitude. I can't fix it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're already irritated. So you're just like, I'm just not, there's nothing that will fix it. At this point, it just seems stupid to even try. Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes when I do the prayer thing, the first few sound a little angry.
It's like Juliet saying grace.
Yes. It's like, thank you for this child that won't go to sleep. You know what I mean? But then as you go, and it softens.
Right.
And so I think that's the important thing isn't that you had the irritation. It's you're able to notice that you are that way, and you just need to take your focus off of you and onto God. Like, I don't think you're not bad. Irritation is a thing. Like, that's our flesh. Our flesh is going to do that. And so it's not, the problem isn't that you're irritated. The problem is that you're allowing it to continue. And so for me, like, you start getting irritated, but you just have to take that one step. Say one thing that you're thankful for. Because as soon as you say the first thing, you're like, I guess I do I kind of have a nice house and my husband has a good job. And I don't know if your husband has a good job.
That's a whole nother can of worms that we're not even going to touch.
But like, it really becomes a domino effect.
Yes.
And it's just taking that first step. It's just like when you got saved. It's taking that first step to the aisle, because He will take you the rest of the way.
Right.
But you have to take that first step. 3, this one's going to be a little bit of a doozy, especially because we're about to be around all of our family. And what do families like to do when they get together? They like to talk and gossip and talk about the things. When others start bringing you down, whether they're bringing up negative things that you don't need to know about, or they're actually coming to confront you about something that you know that God has told you to do not engage. This is going to be hard, because either you're like, oh, I want to hear what's going on. I want to be in the know, because like you have to know people, right? Or it's, I want to prove them wrong if they're coming to confront you about something. You can say, like, you can you can talk to them. Don't just be like, goodbye. I don't think that will work out. Could you imagine somebody walking up to you to start talking to you, and you're just like
every time they get close to you,
you just start walking away, and they're like, maybe they'll just confuse them.
Yeah.
But no, you have nothing to prove. If somebody's coming to confront you, and you don't need to know, if you need to know about that information, it'll be brought to you at some point in a non-gossipy way. Yeah. But I think that when everybody gets together, everyone wants to bicker, and even talk about how bad other family members are.
This is sad but true.
Yeah.
So if we focus on God as much as we should, which none of us don't, so follow that line of thinking, okay? So every trial you go through is preparing you for the next thing.
Yep.
Okay? And it's not necessarily the next big thing, but it's just the next thing.
Yep.
Okay? So as you're driving to your family's house, knowing that they're going to complain that Aunt Susie is doing whatever she does. Okay? Like, she hasn't changed in your entire life. And you probably wonder, like, why do we still talk about her that way until she gets there?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if your focus is on God before you get there, I think it's easier to like keep that focus
Yeah.
on God. You know what I'm saying? So like if you start off in that mindset,
Like you're like, I got a piece of information to tell somebody.
you know what I mean?
Start with that. That's not
Right.
going to be work. That's not going to work.
Right, exactly. Like usually our response is like a knee-jerk reaction. That's how we live in our flesh. We have knee-jerk reactions. And in a sense, that's like saying to God, like, I'm preparing myself to mess up, knowing that you're going to forgive me. Okay. And God is saying to us, no, you should be thinking about me before the situation happens.
Prior to it
and
happening.
then that way, when the situation happens, you are better prepared on how to deal with it. Now, with all that said, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's very,
like,
very hard.
It's very hard because it kind of like, even if you enter the house thinking like, you know, God, I'm going to focus on you the whole time. Like before that moment comes when anyone starts talking about Aunt Susie, there are other things that's going to happen that's going to like just chip away at that. You know what I mean?
You know,
And
add
it's
some
gonna
fuel to the
chip
fire
away.
this year. Say something nice about him.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, well,
like if someone's like, she is just the worst. She's like, yeah, but she makes the best homemade cookies.
exactly.
Like if you add in something nice, everyone's just going to be like, I don't even know how to handle that situation.
Well, unfortunately, when you walk out the room,
Yeah.
can you believe what Jamie said?
Well, and that's the thing.
My cookies are better than her cookies. Like, like, that's going to just open a whole nother.
Well, I think that's the thing too, is that we all think that we're not the same as everybody else. And so like the same, you're talking about somebody behind somebody else's back. They're probably, like you just said, they're probably talking about you behind someone else's, or behind your back to someone else.
Yeah.
And so nothing is different. Now, around our family, we like to talk about each other in front of, we like to make we want to make fun of you.
We wait for them to get there and then we're like,
Yeah.
Oh.
We're like, it's in front of, like, I want to roast you in front of you. Like, I don't want to just say something behind my back or behind your back.
Yeah, okay.
we're polite that way.
Yeah, it'd be rude.
I think both ways are rude, but I'll let it go.
You at least can defend yourself if you want to.
Yeah, okay. Let's try not to just do that either way. In front of their face or
Behind their
their
back.
back. Yeah, let's just try to
That's fair enough.
avoid that.
Good advice.
So, an attitude of gratitude is something that should be despite your situation. And it is something that you cannot control on your own. This isn't something that you're going to be able to just try harder to have gratitude. That's not how this works. The only way that you can be completely thankful in all things is to keep your eyes on Him.
And the thing about it is, like, this was a misconception that I used to have and other people may have, is that so you're saying, okay, I am going to keep my eyes focused on God. Okay. So then who are you relying on to stay focused on God? Yourself.
Yep.
Okay. And then just right there, you guys already know, like, oops.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's not good.
Right. So I personally just try to think like, Lord, help me stay focused on what you want, because I know left up to me, I'm going to blow it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At some point, you know what I mean? I might start off good, you know, listening to the gossip, and I'm just sitting there stirring my tea and nodding my head. But the longer I sit there, it's inevitable something's going to slip out of my mouth. If I'm depending on myself. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm depending on God, you know what I mean? God may say, you need to get up and walk away.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? So.
Yep. So today's considerable quote, I have no idea who it is.
Oh.
So I don't know if somebody could tell me, that'd be great. Gratitude
Why
isn't.
don't you just go Southern? Like Southern?
It's
not even just Southern.
It's
Her nervousness comes
Yeah.
goes
Oh,
southern.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
When I'm nervous, I speak in italics.
Okay.
Gratitude isn't only a celebration when good things happen. Gratitude's a declaration that God is good no matter what happens. My featured content today is Gratitude by Brandon Lake, which I'm pretty sure we did
Good
at camp.
song.
Did we do that at camp? Words fall
don't know.
short.
Yeah, I know the song. We may have
Gratitude.
sang it at
Maybe it's at
camp.
our church. Maybe our church.
We sing it.
Do we? Yeah, we sing it here. But did we sing it for camp or did we
We
just?
may have sang it like at camp, but it might have been a camp song.
Yeah. Well, maybe it wasn't a camp song, but it reminded me
don't
of
know.
camp. So
Yeah.
maybe we sang it once at camp. But yeah, so that's that. Last week's trivia was, how many times is the word thanks found in the Bible? And the correct answer was B, 72. So congratulations to anybody that did that. All right. So this week, though, because it's Thanksgiving, almost. I mean, in a few weeks. It's coming. What is the second most eaten pie on Thanksgiving? A, sweet potato pie. B, pecan pie. C, chocolate pie. Or D, peanut butter pie.
I've only had one of those type of pies.
Yeah, I'm not really a pie person.
Yeah. I like peanut butter pie, though. Peanut butter and chocolate pie.
If you mix them together, maybe.
Like a Reese's pie.
Yeah!
but you need a whole tub of Cool Whip.
So you like Cool Whip pie?
Yeah, that's basically all I want.
What it is?
Yeah.
Okay,
All
the
right.
truth comes out.
So the birthday announcements this week. Happy birthday to Star Turner, Kyler Ferguson, Velvet Adkins, James Jones, Colton Miller, and Brady Wolf. You guys have a good time this week.
Happy birthday, guys.
We have nothing from the mailroom.
Boo.
Sad.
You had 2 single tears.
I did. A lot of them. They're just streaming down my face.
2 single?
Tears, yeah.
Would that just be 2?
No.
No, because they were singularly.
They were by
Each eye. That's simultaneously.
Okay.
simultaneously single tears.
I would just say 2 tears.
It would have to be another S in order to make Josh happy.
Yeah.
Which we don't. Anyway. So thank you guys for joining today. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and please send us some mail.
Some mail. Questions, anything.
It was pretty fancy. That noise we made last week was really good.
There was
Yeah.
It was really good, and we didn't cry last week, so that was good. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a good week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.